Welcome back to CryptosRus. I am George. We're all George. So welcome to another market open stream. CPI inflation data was released not too long ago, and I believe it sets the stage for a massive Bitcoin rally for the remainder of this year. So let's talk about what went down, what was discovered with this last reading, and what else we should expect going forward. And there's the market bell. Welcome, guys. Hopefully you guys are doing good. The U.S. market is looking pretty green today. Today could be an absolutely fantastic day because of this CPI data, which measures inflation for the U.S. in March, went below expectations. In fact, it was one of the biggest drops we have seen in a long time. CPI showed going from February to March, dropped a whole percentage. We went from 6% down to 5%. It was already anticipated it was going to be a big drop to 5.1, but no, we even beat that, crushed that, and went down to 5%. That is a massive drop. And why is this good? Well, overall, this is good because it shows that prices are coming down. And also, specifically, why this is great for markets is because there's just absolutely no way in hell Powell will be raising any more rates in the U.S. after this. There's just no way in hell. With inflation still heading down, with banks still weak, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit, and with jobs report also showing softening, there's no way in hell Powell is going to raise any more rates, which means we are done. We are done. So the only thing to expect later this year is possibly a pivot, and he will announce cuts, not raises, right? So that is absolutely fantastic. However, I was looking at the breakdown, okay? The complete breakdown of what actually went down, what made it go down so much this last month. I'm going to remove my camera here, right? And to me, it seems like most of it is from energy and energy services. Right here, you can see. So overall energy went down about 3.5%. And then you have gasoline down 4.6%. Fuel went down 4%. Electricity went down 0.7%. Utility gas service went down 7.1%. So most of the drop came from energy becoming cheaper, okay? But if you're looking at some of the other items, for example, food didn't really drop a whole lot. And then you have some other things in here like shelter, transportation services, new cars, apparel, medical care, commodities, they actually didn't drop. So in a way, this is kind of faked out by just energy dropping so much. Everything else really didn't move, right? So there is that. And in fact, what's funny is if you look at this right here, the dotted line is when you exclude food and energy, right? And energy, biggest dropper. So if you exclude that, actually what's funny is February to March, CPI actually went up from 5.5 to 5.6%. So that shows that inflation is actually not really going down if you subtract off energy and energy services, right? So there is that. So ultimately, what does this mean? Well, if you're traveling, right, airfare may come down, your gas prices may go down, your heating bill will go down, right? But when you're buying food, you're buying your car or your house or whatever else you may be buying. Get my camera back up. You're not really going to see a difference at this point. In fact, it may be still getting, these things may still be getting more expensive. So this is I would say this. If you read in between the lines, this is actually just like a so-so reading. But I still maintain that there's just no way in hell, due to this reading, that Powell will be raising rates again. That's it. There's no more. No more. And also, even Warren Buffett, even though he is the anti-Bitcoin, anti-Bitcoiner, however you want to define him, he's like, we're not through bank failures. Okay, he's been consulting a lot of banks. So even though the Fed and FDIC and the Treasury and everyone else that's involved, they're bailing out the banks left and right behind the scenes. We don't even know the full picture. Okay, all we do know is the balance sheet of the Fed went up by $500 billion. Banks are borrowing left and right. And even Warren Buffett says bank failures were not over. There will be more, right? So again, another reason why Powell there's 0% chance he's going to raise any more rates. That's what I'm maintaining. And if he does, well, then I'm wrong. But he will make this situation much, much worse. But regardless, if more banks fail, that only helps Bitcoin, right? If inflation suddenly comes back up, it only helps Bitcoin. So these two things, I mean, they actually have been driving the narrative for 2023. This is why Bitcoin is actually so strong, because people, first of all, are fearful of the banks, and second of all, sick of hearing about inflation. So they're doing something about it, right? And that is why Bitcoin, according to many, is 1 year away from a major technical event. What is that? I think most of you guys know. CNBC people probably don't know, but you guys know. We're 1 year away from the halving event, okay? And with everything I've just said, right? People turning to Bitcoin because distrust in banks and sick of hearing about inflation. We also have this. Just look at it. This makes the picture very clear, okay? You have a halving event, and then after the halving event, what happens? You have all-time high. It has always been like this. The very first one, right? And then you have the second one. Then you have the third one, okay? And Bitcoin always does its thing. Now, when you zoom out like this, doesn't seem like there's much volatility, but there is. There's a lot of volatility. But Bitcoin has always played out this way, and it's going to be no different this time around. If anything, what may be different this time around is Bitcoin recovering much faster this time than before. We may not even have to wait for the halving before a new all-time high. In fact, just yesterday I covered several reasons why we may even see all-time high by the end of this year. That would be absolutely bonkers. And yes, if that happens, we would have broken previous trends with the halving event, but who cares, right? It's a good break. So regardless, this is what we have to look forward to. And if you notice, every single cycle, the dollar amount in Bitcoin gets much, much higher. And even the lower points get much, much higher. This is why we're in Bitcoin, because more and more people are getting involved, learning and adopting and buying and holding, right? But the supply of Bitcoin does not increase linearly like demand, right? This is the difference between Bitcoin and the US dollar and every other currency out there, right? The inflation rate of Bitcoin is being cut, not increased. The supply has a finite supply, not infinite supply like the USD. Yes, this is why this happens, okay? And recently, there's been a lot of measurements of Bitcoin just being removed from circulation. And also, on top of that, new addresses, which means people are coming in and buying Bitcoin and removing them from the exchanges. I mean, there's really no other way to explain it. This one goes back to the beginning of the year to December, and you could see how the number of addresses kind of fluctuate up and down, right? But every time the address forms a new high, and that's when Bitcoin price goes up. And it keeps on doing this, and we keep having this up and down moment, which basically shows more people coming into the space, right? And then they remove Bitcoin from the exchanges because they are buying. Actually, I just looked at this. I pulled this up on Crypto Quant, looking at all the spot exchanges and the net flow of Bitcoin. On the 10th to 11th, 9,243 Bitcoins removed. And then yesterday, another, 561 Bitcoins removed. You add it together, that's like $200 million. $200 million of the Bitcoin gone from the spot exchanges, right? This is what's happening right now. You just have a lot of buying. And not only that, you have a lot of people coming into the space. Again, supply, demand. Supply is doing this. Demand is doing this. This is why Bitcoin is moving up, right? So, massive rally ahead for the remainder of this year? I would say so. I don't think Powell's going to raise any more rates. If anything, he may be cutting rates later on. Inflation number, not bad, although mixed, I would say. But if energy continues to come down, it will affect many industries, and that's good overall. You still have bank failures or worries about bank failures. I mean, all these things, and the halving event, right? This is shaping out to be a fantastic year, and I can't wait to see how high Bitcoin will get before the year is over. And also, we got a lot of adoption and a lot of bullishness out of Hong Kong. Hong Kong's largest virtual bank, which has actually no stores, they are getting ready to become a fiat on-ramp, off-ramp for crypto exchanges. Hong Kong is going big with Web3, with crypto overall, with exchanges, which means China is kind of like saying, okay, we're ready for this. Let's let Hong Kong become the world's hub for Web3 and crypto, and then we'll probably embrace it overall in mainland. That's what's happening. And this is happening right now while the U.S. has so much uncertainty because of Gary Gensler, right? Gary Gensler is driving, I can't tell you how many projects recently I've been talking to have either said that they are thinking about leaving, or they are leaving, or they're just so fearful about Gary because they don't know what to expect. Gary's driving everyone away. But now what China is doing is like, hey, why don't you guys come to Hong Kong, right? But overall, this will be massive. Can't tell you how many trillions in China are waiting to jump into crypto if they can, and that may be coming very, very shortly. So think about that. And as of right now, you guys know Bitcoin is at 30,000. A little volatile last night, no reason, but 30,000 holding strong, right? Next resistance to look forward to is about 36,000. Although in between, I would say there's another one around about 31.7, but the next major resistance probably around 36,000. Who knows when that's going to come? Maybe the end of this week, maybe next week, maybe next month, right? But the trend is clear. We are moving up, and better days are coming. I would say shortly. I would argue shortly. It's not that long. It's already mid-April. We're almost May, if you think about it. But overall, there's just so many charts, so many signals, so many things that's showing Bitcoin is repeating what it has done before when it has broken up from its bottom point and now about to rally hard, okay? Not soft rally, hard rally. Both times. This has happened before. Look at 2016. What happened? $160 to $20,000, right? You look at 2018, 2019, 3,000 up to 69,000. So these events don't happen very often, but when they do, you don't want to be left sitting on the sidelines. Because then you just miss out on the craziest gains that can't be replicated anywhere else. Here's another one that's showing stochastic on the monthly scale turning upwards again. We have seen this only 3 times in the past, and after those 3 times, Bitcoin went up thousands of percents. Again, you don't want to be left out sitting on the sidelines missing out on all these gains, okay? And what about Ethereum? Today is the start, okay? In 8 hours, 42 minutes, the upgrade will commence. And so far, it seems like there's very little people that want to sell. Very, very little. So this is going to be absolutely fantastic. When the Shanghai upgrade is over, Ethereum will allow people to unstake or unlock their ETH, which has been locked in for years, right? But I covered this. Right now, only about 15% of the circulation is locked in or staked in validators. But imagine when that 15% climbs to 60% or 70% or 80% for Ethereum, it's going to cause Ethereum to be very, very, very deflationary afterwards, because that fear of not being able to take your ETH out goes away, right? I think this is going to be absolutely huge for Ethereum, and it's about to start in 8 hours. Pretty big. Last 2 things. Binance.us is delisting Tron. They said it's influenced by a variety of factors, which is weird because I haven't heard anything about Tron being a security, anything like that. But this tells you, even Binance does not trust Tron these days, okay? I've never trusted Tron and never trusted Justin Sun. If you have any doubts, just go do a Google search what Justin has done over the years. No good. And then lastly, I saw this. Elon may not look like crypto news, but maybe. Elon buys 10,000 GPUs for this AI project, supposedly, okay, for moderation or whatever, right? But it makes you wonder, could he be buying all this to be mining something? Maybe he wants to mine something, right? And what is that something? Maybe he wants to mine Doge. You know, we don't know what his master secret plan is, but we know it involves Doge. Besides just changing the picture to a Doge picture, that's it. But hey, who knows? Maybe he wants to become one of the largest miners of Doge, right? Maybe, I don't know. But 10,000 GPUs, that's a lot. That's a lot. All right, that is what I want to cover. U.S. market. Oh, NASDAQ is turning red. Dow is turning green. Like I said at the beginning, this looks like it's a fantastic, absolutely fantastic inflation reading, because we dropped 1% month to month, right? But if you dig deeper and you actually look at it, if you exclude energy, the core inflation actually went up by 0.1%. So I don't know. Wall Street is still trying to digest that. But regardless, I don't think Powell is doing any more rate hikes anymore due to this reading and due to some of the other data that we received. All right. So let's do some Q&A. Vincent says, energy is a primary indicator. The rest are somewhat lagging indicators because cost of products is based on cost of use. Yeah, I get that. I mean, energy, oil runs the world, right? everything from manufacturing, shipping, transportation, everything is dependent on energy and oil. So I get that. But still, for normal people looking to buy food, buy a car, buy a house, buy clothes, buy whatever, transportation services like airfare, yeah, they're not going to see the benefits of this right now or possibly for a very long time. Let's see here. Let's see. Ton of people in here. Ton of people. Let's see. NMCT, lower energy prices help increase BTC hash rate and profitability for the miners, right? It helps with profitability. It doesn't directly help with hash rate, but of course, if it's cheaper and more profitable for the miners to mine, then yes, they can afford to buy more mining machines. Does that make sense? Servando, where can I buy your NFTs? On OpenSea. I have a link in the description. There's only one available right now, I think. I don't know. I haven't checked if it's expired or not. The strap-on NFT. Let's see. When is altcoin season? 2024. Do you see ETH hitting 2,500 this month? You know what? I wouldn't put it past it. I think ETH has been pretty lagging versus Bitcoin. One of the reasons is due to this upgrade. I think there's a lot of people think that there may be massive dumping after people can unstake and people just want to dump all their ETH. I just don't see that that's the case. Some people probably want to. Some people probably want to unstake and sell, right? But I don't think majority of people are going to say, okay, I'm going to unstake and dump, right? Afterwards, I think that fear is alleviated and more people will hold on and stake ETH and possibly buy it. So can 2,500 come this month? There is a possibility, of course. There's definitely a good, I would say, good possibility. Ming, don't be lying about Teslas being more fun than ICE cars. Not true. That's false news according to you know who. Do you believe in an unemployment rate? I know a lot of people got fired. I'm trying to find a job in IT. More than 200 people waiting for, Shahil. I actually know a lot of people that also got fired. You know what's happening right now? It seems like the companies are laying off white collar people, right? And most of the jobs are for, I don't know 100% if this is 100% accurate, but it does seem like blue collar people, they have easier time to find a job, right? But white collar people, they're having a harder time finding a job. And I'm hearing a lot more of the higher paying white collar jobs. They are scarce and hearing a lot of them getting fired these days, right? So the companies out there are definitely trying to prepare for a weak year, right? They're kind of a little late to the game. You kind of figure that this would have happened in 2022, but a lot of it's happening in 2023 when the conditions are improving, right? So it's kind of weird to hear about that now, but it is happening. I'm also hearing the same thing. Yeah, I actually tuned into Elon's interview with BBC on Twitter yesterday. I caught the part where the guy's like, "Oh, what do you think about hate speech increasing?" And Elon's like, "What are you talking about? Give me one example." And the guy couldn't give him one example, and then Elon called him out, kept pressing him on it, like, "You can't even give one example. That's so ridiculous, right?" And it is. The guy was just like asking all these questions that he couldn't even fact check. Okay, all these like false news. He kept saying, "Well, I'm hearing from other, other outlets. They're reporting this." He couldn't even fact check any of it. Do you see Bitcoin hitting 40K next month? Ooh, that's gonna be tough. That's gonna be tough. I don't know. I mean, it certainly could happen, but when Bitcoin forms these next leg ups, it stays there for a while, right? So when we finally hit, let's say we broke 24,000. We did that March 13th, and then this is April, right? So that was like a full month to break above a resistance and then stay below the next resistance. So seeing how we just broke it, eventually we're going to hit this next resistance 31.6, or we go stay there for a month. I don't know. This is a smaller gap, obviously, right? May, June, July, can we hit 40,000, 50,000? It's within the realm of possibility. Let's just put it that way. Brent says, I'm personally excited I could stake my ETH now. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Most people are just afraid to stake. But afterwards, that fear is gone. What does the CPI data actually mean for Bitcoin? Here's the thing, okay? What you need to remember is this. The inflation rate of Bitcoin is getting cut in half next year, right? And it will continue to be cut in half every 4 years. So inflation for Bitcoin keeps on decreasing, okay? That's what the halving event is all about. And Bitcoin has a set supply. Unlike fiat, unlike the US dollar or any other fiat currency around the world, right? Inflation happens because more money is printed every single year. There is no cap. There is no supply cap. Just keeps on increasing. That's why we have inflation. And yes, there are other factors at play. If there's supply chain issues, manufacturing issues, if price of oil goes up, all those things, yes, affect it short term. But the main driver of inflation is printing. And you can't trust governments to be responsible with that because they're not. They will print whenever there's a sign of problem. They will print and print more and print even more. That's why we have inflation. That's why inflation keeps robbing people of their buying power because it never stops. So ultimately, this is what you need to worry about. Okay, do you want your money to silently be taxed and your buying power to decrease over time, or do you want to preserve that buying power and see it increase over time? And if you do, then buy and hold Bitcoin. Okay, that's ultimately what you need to worry about. Marco, as BTC goes up, the next plus 5K level is always a smaller percent. That is right. That is right. But it also takes more money to move Bitcoin, right? So you need a massive amount of money to come in to break every one of these levels. But you are right about that. The market is trying to fake out people, then boom. I mean, it's kind of strange that the market opened up a little weak. NASDAQ is starting to turn green. I mean, overall, the inflation report is good. Nevertheless, CPI shows that inflation has gone down month to month by a whole percentage point. That's big. However you slice it, that's big. Okay. I'd say after this report, there's basically zero chance that there will be another rate hike this year. I cannot see it. With the inflation report going down, with bank fears still high, with overall jobs, the number of job increases or available jobs have gone down. I mean, and other data that shows, consumer spending and stuff like that going down. I mean, there's just no way there will be any more rate hikes starting next month. So what we have to look forward to are rate cuts. And, that's valid. Some people will probably unstake ETH and go to BTC because of how strong BTC is right now. But, then again, normally after these big events, like a big upgrade, you could see a huge interest or reversal afterwards. So it's only time will tell. We'll see. We don't have to wait much longer to find out. Miguel, what do you think the incentive will be when the last Bitcoin is mined and miners have less incentive to secure the network? Well, they'll still be incentivized. Like, you still have to pay fees for transactions, right? And those fees, even though it's minuscule, like 0.001 Bitcoin or whatever it may be, but by then, we're talking about 120 years from now. That 0.001 Bitcoin could be like $10,000 to just move Bitcoin around, right? So, I guess it's the matter of how badly inflation will be by then in 100 years. And I think it's still going to be worth it for them to help with that. Lighten, you're welcome. Gary only has one tool and he loves it. I guess. Topper Franz, sticking to your 50-25-25 rule, I'm glad. It's certainly helping right now, right? Having 50% in your portfolio, definitely helping with Bitcoin strength, right? Others will follow. I mean, Ethereum, the big caps, they're struggling a little bit, but they will follow. And the small caps certainly will have their day as well, right? So I still think it's a good breakup. Of course, if you want to go heavier into Bitcoin, that's fine. But, overall, I think 50-25-25 is a pretty good rule to follow in terms of diversification. What is my DCA approach? It doesn't really matter what mine is. You just have to figure out what yours is. You guys know every Wednesday, right, I do DCA with you guys, and that is tonight, right? But besides that, I DCA all the time, just whenever I feel like it's a good time, right? You could go by your gut feeling. You could go by a percentage drop. You could go by a set time schedule. It's up to you. Find something that works for you. Don't go too heavy. Don't be too excited. Don't go all in. I think a lot of people get very excited about DCAing, like they go all in, and then they run out of money. I think it's important to have that cash on the side, 20, 25, 30% cash, so that you can continue to DCA no matter what happens, right? And in reverse, if you want to profit take, a good rule is to still look at your cash pile, 20, 25, 30%. If it starts dwindling down to like 10% because crypto has gone up so much, well, then it's clear sign that you should take some profit, increase that 10% to 20 to 25%, right? So I think it works out both ways. Coinbase is down today. Interesting. Coinbase is very highly manipulated right now. Yesterday, it kind of started off weak, and then boom, it ended up the day like at plus 8% or something. Mara is up today a little bit. Tesla is up slightly, little bit today. MicroStrategy is down a little bit today. Doesn't quite make sense. Yeah, I think Wall Street is just kind of funny at times. I think I'm not trying to say I'm like smarter than all these guys on Wall Street, but I feel like a lot of these times they're just guessing. They're just trying to like figure things out on the fly, just like me, like you guys. And then like, you know, someone makes a move and others are paying attention. Just like, oh, they're doing this, so let's do this. Like everyone just piles on. They're very reactive, reactionary. That's how I feel. It's like I don't get it. You know, sometimes you have good readings, turns out to be, and the market dumps, and then the opposite side. I mean, sometimes it just makes no sense. Thoughts on Stellar? I've never been big on Stellar, Ron. Never been big. I think there's much better buys than Stellar. If BTC hits 1 million in 2032, each transfer is like 10K, like you said. Would that be too costly for people to use? Maybe. Lightning Network also makes it cheaper. Lightning Network makes it much cheaper. But to send a regular Bitcoin, could be that high. I see you twice a day from Holland. I'm glad you're here twice a day with me, and I'm glad everyone else is here. You know what? I don't know. I know right now Bitcoin is flat, but I see good things coming. Not only later on, but even later today, I think we could see some good movement. I think overall today, the CPI report is positive, even though the results are mixed. I think it's positive. We'll see. I think this could be a really good day, but right now Wall Street's like, I don't know if I should be bullish or I should wait, right? I think we're going to see some bullishness before the end of the day. We'll see. XLM will haunt my mind. No, it won't. I'll go on record and say this. I'd rather buy XRP than XLM. I think XRP has a much brighter future than XLM. So, you know, XLM is inflationary, right? There's no set supply. XRP does. XRP has a set supply. XRP actually can burn also. Not many people know that. And XRP actually at least has Ripple behind it, and they have a clear vision. XLM has no clear vision. I don't know what they're trying to do. You know, it was rumored they're trying to become EVM compatible. Rumored that they're going to help with stable coins. Rumored they're going to do, you know, remittance or become the bridge currency that XRP is trying to become. They're all over the place. So I don't know what their actual plans are other than just it's just there. So I much rather buy XRP than XLM. I don't think much of Huobi's partnership with Gala because Huobi's now owned by Justin Sun and Tron, and I don't trust them. So unfortunately, I think that good news was turned to bad news. No one's talking about Kin because they're dead. They basically became bankrupt by the SEC. They won the lawsuit, but it pretty much like bankrupted them. So that's why no one's talking about them. How do you feel about strength of the dollar at this moment? Well, let's pull that up right now. 101 is fantastic, right? So big drop after this morning. Overall, let's zoom out a little bit here. 1 year, we are about the lowest point in 1 year. No, 1 year ago, we're a little bit lower, 99, 100, so we're getting there. But let's zoom out a little bit. 3 years, we need to be back here, right? If we could break 100 and head down to like the 90s, that's what we're looking forward to, right? But I have mentioned this. You know, starting to see other countries get off the USD standard. Brazil, Russia. You're starting to see it with some other Latin American countries where they no longer want to use USD. Japan is breaking that NATO embargo thing. They're buying oil from Russia, and they're not buying with USD either. So we may be starting to see the beginning of the end for the dollar. I'm not saying it's going to happen anytime soon, but you're starting to see countries get off USD. It's starting to happen. With CBDCs coming, is XRP a good buy? The two have nothing to do with each other, so I don't see the relationship. Even with CBDCs coming, doesn't make XRP a good buy or not a good buy. It has nothing to do with each other. All right, guys. I'll let you guys go. Overall inflation data shows inflation going down, especially with energy, which is overall positive. But, you know, foods and other things, transportation, still a little high. But when you combine that with bank failures and bank weakness, I mean, I think overall it's good because I just don't think Powell's going to raise rates anymore after this, especially after this latest data and everything else that's going on showing the U.S. economy softening and weakening. I think overall this sets the stage, okay, for markets to really rally later this year, especially Bitcoin. As Bitcoin gets stronger, as we get closer to the halving event, we will definitely see more rallies for Bitcoin, maybe even today, or maybe next week, or maybe next month, or maybe a couple months, or end of the year. We will definitely see more rallies coming. So stay strong, guys. I will see you guys tonight, and we'll look at the markets again, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. All right? Have a good one, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.